We can. It looks like we got 4 people here already, so we do have a quorum. So I can do the roll call first. Seifert?
Here.
Jennings?
Here.
Mccomb? Scripps? DeBush? I just saw him.
Yeah, he's here.
He's on here, yeah.
Here.
Thank you. And McFarland.
Present.
Perfect. We have a quorum.
Okay. So, excuse me, November 11th meeting of Historic Design Review Commission. Did the roll call. This report on October 7th, 2020 meeting. Any comments? Entertain a motion to accept.
I'll move to approve.
Okay, Ms. Jennings, a second, please.
I'll second.
Mr. McFarland, thank you. All those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Item number 3, request from Jenna Becker for a facade grant. Is there somebody from them?
I do not see her in attendance, no.
Do you want to give some sort of summary, Adam?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so the request before this commission this afternoon is both, as the chairperson discussed, was a facade grant request and also a design review. So in sum, the request falls within 3 separate buckets, as I would like to think. The first calls for the replacement of the 2nd-story windows, and within this replacement, it calls for 40 single hung and 21 stationary windows. Second, there'll be more of the maintenance per se of the request, focusing on the deteriorating and cracked mortar joints, fixing that up, and then repairing the loose brick along all across the entirety of the building's facade. And then the last bucket focuses on repairing the deteriorating chimney, which, as you can see in the staff report, was shown. There's some pretty good images that'll show the existing chimney in place. But so as I said, the proposal for the windows will have more of a bronze exterior finish. Now, this request is not proposed to alter in terms of size, in terms of scale, in terms of color from what the existing windows appear. And like I said, in the staff report, it shows some good images showing what the building's facade with the windows specifically look like now. Secondly, like I said, the one change in terms of size, scale, etc. And the third part, focusing more on the chimney side standpoint, staff feels that the focus on repairing the chimney itself is just in that it focuses on a key standpoint within the historic preservation's design guidelines, and also chapter 22 of the city's code of ordinance, which focuses on the deterioration rather of external chimneys as a goal that property owners of a historic building should strive for, should try to repair when it's needed. So, and then the second part of this request, focusing on the facade grant standpoint, here you can see the list of contractors on and their respective bids. So in total, the total project costs about $65,000, and with 40% of the total project cost being $26,253.38. Now, with that, staff does recommend approval of both the design review and the facade improvement request. Like I said, in the amount of $26,253.38, with the following conditions that you can see on your screen, and likewise in the staff report. So with that, I can take any of the commissioners' questions.
Anybody have questions?
This is Tori Jennings. I have comments and questions, I guess, or comments. We've had discussions before about landlords and property owners who have failed to maintain their buildings and then use the facade grant to do work that they themselves should have done and didn't do. And this is certainly a case in point of that. This landlord owns, I believe owns lots of properties, but this particular building has been an ongoing problem and has simply not been maintained and not managed well at all. However, that said, this building is significantly impacting downtown businesses, including those that are in the building. It's an entry point to the downtown, and it's impacting that. So I'm ambivalent because even though I'm frustrated with this particular property owner in terms of neglecting the building, I also see the city's need to motivate or assist the property owner in getting this done, because it's not going to get completed otherwise. Is that sort of an accurate assessment, Mr. Kuhn?
Well, and I can respond to that. And I did see that the applicant is here as well, so she can respond to some of your questions directly. But I would say one of the benefits that I'm sure all the commissioners are aware of is that the funds will not be dispersed until the project is completed. So essentially, if the project isn't completed, the funds won't be dispersed. So staff feels that that provides an extra safeguard to ensure that the work proposed will be done and will be done in accordance to the conditions applied and in accordance to the design guidelines in place. And that if the, like I said, if the work ends up not being completed, then the funds won't be dispersed. So we feel that staff would feel that it's a pretty good safeguard to make sure that no negative impacts would be associated with this. But like I said, I can have the applicant, if she wishes, to speak more directly to your comment and question.
And just one other follow-up with that. The chimney is not part of the facade yet. In this case, basically the taxpayers are paying again for work that has been neglected. So I just have some questions of why the chimney, although I think you explained it, I'm still confused as to why the chimney is being included in the facade grant when it's not either part of the facade or visible from the roadway.
Sure, and that's, I guess, two parts to this. First off, this would still be, like I said, be in accordance, and well, as mentioned in the staff report, it would be in accordance with the facade improvement grant program guidelines. And second, even if the chimney per se isn't explicitly seen from ground level, for example, it still does have a structural component. Structural integrity would still be an important factor to consider with this building and just the overall aesthetic and feel. And as I mentioned in the staff report too, one of the requests that we would have of the applicant is to have them submit our final details regarding what the overall intent is. Now, I know the applicant told me a while back that the brickwork that's proposed, that would be compatible, for example, with the current brick around the facade of the building. So that would be, so with regards to why it's included in the facade grant request, that's part of the reason too, is making sure that the components of the chimney is in cohesion with the overall, with the building in its entirety. There's no discrepancy in terms of aesthetics, in terms of look, in terms of feel. But
Adam, could you show pictures of the chimney? Are there any pictures that show the chimney?
sure, and I can pull that up. It'll be just one moment.
Because when I looked, there appeared to be a chimney that was kind of in the middle, and then there were, I believe, on the south side there were a chimney that was more of on the facade of the south side.
Sure. Oops. That'll be just one moment. I'm pulling it up now. All right, so this was taken just from the staff report, and hopefully you all can see see what I'm showing on the screen here. So the chimney would be right here. It would be the main feature, and then you have the three situated right here. And like I said, I can have the applicant explain further about the overall scope of what's being proposed too. But here's just an overall image, like I said, of the aerial view of the building.
So
I have another
proposal-
question too, and this could go to the applicant. The windows that were seen on the south facade, those are boarded up. Are those going to be replaced with actual windows?
Can you hear me, Adam?
I can, correct.
Yes, Joe, everything on the second floor would be replaced. So anything that is currently boarded up would be replaced.
What about
Okay,
those
thank you. That was-
things that look like doors at the bottom below the double windows on the south side?
The only active door is the door on the right, and we actually replaced that last year through Precision Glass. So several of the doors on the main level have been replaced. And I guess I can jump right into that, I guess, discussing the condition of the building. We have not owned this building for all that long, and it certainly did not come to disrepair in just the last several years. When we purchased this building, it was in very poor condition, and we have actually worked quite hard to repair lots of things, unfortunately, most of which you can't see. So we've done lots of work to the plumbing on the interior. We remodeled several of the spaces. So we truly have put a lot of money into this. And yes, the reason that the exterior hasn't been tackled is just the sheer cost of it. I think there's over 60 windows. So, unfortunately, my husband and I are not a large property. We do own some residential properties. This is the only commercial building that we own. And we've never had a spare $60,000 to fix it. So it's gotten to the point that tuck pointing absolutely has to be done. And I guess, despite how it may have come across, we also, love the downtown and really want to return this to the condition. So we've worked pretty hard to keep up with what the city has asked, with maintaining and patching and repairing things along the way to try and get it to this point. So we're certainly excited and looking forward to updating it and getting the new windows put in.
Alder Jennings, could I make a comment?
Go ahead.
This is Mary Mccomb. I didn't own, I had a business across Strong's Avenue from this building for 11 years. And I have heard horror stories about the previous owner and the previous condition of the building. And secondhand knowledge, but I really did hear terrible stories about the building. So I'm glad to hear that somebody has bought it who really cares about it. But it was well known among us on Strong's Avenue that the previous owner was derelict in their duty.
To go back to the chimneys for a moment, the big one in the south part, but what about the other three? Are those going to be repaired also or taken away or what?
To be completely honest, I apologize. My husband dealt more with really the tuck pointer. I have never been on the roof, and some of that has to do with, again, some of the deteriorating brickwork. It's really hard to get up there. When we had gotten the quotes from the tuck pointer, we had just asked that they also, repair and replace any deteriorated brick on the chimney. So I have a feeling that, the amount or whatever is, part of that estimate that goes towards that is incredibly tiny. But it was brought to our attention when we purchased the building that there may have been some issues with the chimney. I don't believe it's used anymore unless it potentially is a chase for something. So it's really just to make sure that the mortar and the bricks are in good condition.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I have a question. You briefly mentioned before that this was, that you were doing a bunch of other different work on the building. And I think one of the conditions that needs to be met is that this is part of an overall building improvement project. The staff report really just notes that there's facade improvement activities are numerous and have been indicated within the staff report. If you could maybe briefly say some of the other projects that you're working on, that this is part of an overall building project and not just the only work being done is what's being provided by the facade improvement grant you're applying for?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. We have replaced trying to think of how many commercial spaces are down there, but we've replaced and repaired at least 5 of the main entry doors. We've replaced glass on the storefronts. Most of that work, I believe, was done through Esser Glass, but we replaced a lot of the glass so that has, it wasn't as weather tight as it should have been, or wasn't providing the tenants with enough. I think we put in new furnaces, and then that, I guess, brought to light that the fact that potentially the glass was a heat loss. So we've updated a lot of the glass. Lots of those actual interiors of those units we've put quite a bit of money into. We've been working on the main structure of the plumbing, replacing all of the old cast iron pipes to try to update everything. And again, just keep it so that it is going to last for years and years. But overall, mostly it's just been interiors. We remodeled 3 of the spaces completely. But most of the plumbing and the electrical, the upstairs currently doesn't have heat. So part of what we're doing in conjunction with having those windows replaced is to then have all new electrical run up there so that we can get that space heated.
A question. So the upstairs is not occupied at this point at all?
There are 3 UWSP art professors that have art studios up there. And they use it mostly for storage. They're very large spaces, and they have rented, most of those have rented those spaces since the 80s. But other than that, that's all that it's used for currently.
But your long-term goal is to make that space that can be occupied?
I guess it depends on your terms of occupied. I don't think it could ever be, I don't think it could ever be apartment spaces or anything such as that. But I think there probably could be more. We enjoy having the professors there. I think there would be more call for more spaces if we could provide better spaces. Those are very, very low rent. Most of them are about $125 a space. But like I said, right now they're not, they're not much. They're beautiful. That used to be a women's college, so they have high ceilings and brick walls, and it's gorgeous up there. It's just that everything is older and there's no heat.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
Chair Siebert, one other comment.
Go ahead.
This is Alder Jennings. I appreciate that Commissioner Mccomb clarified that history, because that history is actually informing my comments. So I stand corrected, and I look forward to the work that the Beckers are continuing to do. So thank you.
I would also say, without any sort of lacking that institutional memory that some of you have, it seems to me like this is a strong candidate for the facade improvement grant, given that it's doing a lot of masonry work and tuck pointing and things that we know are expensive, but are also important to the historical integrity of downtown.
Any other commissioners have comments, questions? Okay, call the question. Entertain a motion to accept, reject, whatever you want.
Oh, I'll move to accept the staff recommendations.
Second, please.
I'll second. Mary Mccomb.
Okay. All those in favor then say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Ms. Becker.
Thank you all. I appreciate your time.
Okay, Adam, where'd you go?
Yep, just shifting back to,
Okay, staff update is number 4.
yes, so we have 2 quick updates for you. First of all, I should state the obvious. So I just want to say, just me personally, on behalf of staff, I would like to thank Chair Beveridge for the amount of work that he's done over the course of the last few decades, I believe, as chairperson. I know this was actually something that I realized a few weeks ago, how long he's been chairperson of this commission, well before I was even born. And I just would say He was one of the first persons that had more of a one-on-one with me when I started here, and I appreciate so much just the amount of knowledge and information he's been able to share with me over just with everything regarding the city, especially as someone who never resided here in the city prior to me starting this position. So I learned a lot. I'm greatly thankful for the work I've been able to work with him over the last few weeks and months. So, but obviously with that, Chairperson Seifert is now the next chairperson of this commission, and I'm looking forward as well to working with you in the next few months and years ahead. So,
Thank you.
so yeah, that's the first update, and then second staff update is that staff is anticipating that the next time that this commission meets, if it's December or early next year, is when we're going to be having a first draft of a demo by neglect ordinance ready for the commission to review, and then we'll take it from there as far as how many times we want to bump it back between staff and the commission standpoint. So just take a look and expect to see something from staff the next time we meet regarding a draft ordinance. But other than that, that's all the staff updates we have today.
Thank you. Any other commissioners have a comment? Okay, it's 2:25. I think we are adjourned.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.